more and get with some agents on our players and again help kick off this 2026 season. So, time's yours. Yeah, I mean we've had a lot of dialogue with Trent last spring, last summer, and he's first out of the gate I think tomorrow. So looking forward to get with him, and obviously Trent's a great player and see what we can do there. But certainly love to have Trent back and for the long term. It's funny, every year when we were picking 31, 32, I'd always say, man, if we were just at 24 or 25, we'd be exactly where we want to be. And now we're at 9. I'm like, man, if we were just at 4 or 5, we'd be exactly where we want to be. So I think every GM kind of has that mindset where, unless you have the first pick, there's a certain element that you can't control, and you have to let the dominoes fall, if you will. But, we're excited. I mean, we don't want to be picking 9 every year, but we're excited to add some young talent to this roster. And I think even more excitingly, those second, third rounds where felt like years past, day one would end, we'd come in there and there'd be 5 or 6 players, but you knew at 32 in round 2 you wouldn't get them either. So it's not just the first round. I think we have an opportunity to really capitalize here and add a lot of talent throughout the course of the draft weekend. Yeah, I think we've kind of taken a different approach with Travis in the sense that I think, we've kind of prepared for either scenario, and Coach had mentioned on Friday he's had great dialogue with Travis on our end, myself, Chris Shea, Travis's crew. We've had some good dialogue there, and I'm sure we're going to see him here just like we will all the other players' agents, and we'll continue that dialogue. But Travis is the best. He's an icon, and hopefully he comes back, and we'll just kind of let that process play out. Oh, well, I think it's a combination of all those. I mean, it's not your typical, hey, 27-year-old first time at free agency. I mean, Travis has done everything. He's accomplished everything. He's about to get married. He's got a lot going on. And so I don't think there's an element of us not trying to, you need some sort of deadline timeline, but at the same time, I mean, it's Travis Kelce. So we're going to just continue to have positive dialogue and see where this thing ends. But I think we're trying to position ourselves that either way, we have a plan moving forward.
Brett, as far as the roster construction heading into this year, where did you view the biggest weakness on the offensive side of the ball? How can you protect Patrick coming off the torn ACL?
Well, I think it's certainly we want to get more explosive in the running game, and we've invested in that interior, and with Trey Smith and Creed Humphrey, I mean, 2 of the best in the league, and we thought Kingsley made a big step. I mean, those are 3 talented interior players. So I think, and we've talked about it, and Coach has done an amazing job with his staff cranking on that scheme eval, but I think being more explosive in the running game and really taking advantage of those interior 3 to kind of impose your will on an opposing team's defense. But I mean, the running game takes a lot of pressure off everybody, so I think if we can be more explosive and more effective in the running game, I think obviously we take a lot of pressure off Pat, especially coming back early in the season with the injury. So everything's kind of a puzzle, and I think with a lot of our players, I don't think that there's any one of our free agents that we look and say we don't want these guys back. I mean, they're really good players. We won a lot of games with them. It's just a matter of trying to put the puzzle together and what else is going to be out there, their price points, and kind of fitting the whole thing together. So I think what we do is we just kind of remain in contact and keep that dialogue open. But all those players that you'd mention, or if I didn't mention any of the Chanels and the Cooks and the Watsons, I mean, all these guys we're monitoring, and we're trying to get as many back as we can. Obviously, it's unrealistic to think you will, but we have to be able to go in different directions. I mean, there's some times where you don't think a guy's going to come back here, and then all of a sudden, because you either didn't execute something or someone else took a different deal, things open back up. And so I think you just need to remain flexible and fluid during these situations, but always have layers of backup plans when you enter this part of the season. Well, I think it's on the rise to a degree, but typically the better you are and the more higher profile you are, I mean, it's the less leverage you have sometimes, and and then those players follow suit with other players, and everyone kind of does the same thing. So I think it's always been the case where it kind of varies when you get to the degree of each and every player. But that's a good question. I don't know to what percent is it on the rise. I know it's something that all teams utilize, and we do as well. And a lot of it comes down to just kind of the caliber of player or the tier of player. We're doing it when we can. I mean, that's just one of those things we do, and especially with the guys that have a little bit more injury history, and I mean, there has to be a trade-off too if you're going to give some guy a contract, and there is a bit of that injury question, and so I think we always try to implement that, but I think it varies by player and position. Yeah, I mean, you see it when we go through these prospects and we're looking at the tags and you see their birth dates, and then you look at your roster and a lot of the guys are just as young as these guys, right? And then it kind of trickles down. And I think you also see it too. I think when the official decision date for these underclassmen came out, I believe we moved over 25 guys off our board that we had top 75, top 100. So it really impacts, I think, the draft, and then you're getting older prospects as you go on. So I don't think that's going to change anytime soon, and that's something that we have to adapt to until there's some wholesale changes on what they do on the college side. I think this is just going to be the way things work now, and it's for us to adapt and adjust to it and position yourself to get some of the younger players that have a little bit more growth and typically the second and third round would be those guys that maybe they didn't play a lot but they were young. Well, now these guys are just bouncing and getting paid by another school and getting paid and playing. So it's a little bit that 2, 3, 4 round where you got these younger developmental guys that haven't scratched the surface yet. You're getting a little bit more already finished product, and so that's challenging. But I think it's again what we have to adapt to, and that goes into how you position your board and when to be aggressive and when not to be aggressive. Yeah. I mean, and then listen, part of the process is to just find guys that love to play and love the process. And, I mean, if you're drafting guys too, your goal is to ultimately pay them and have them still come back with the same desire and hunger like the Mahomes and the Creeds and the Treys. And so, I don't think I've seen a dip off in that. I do see just the talent pool shrinking. So with Juwan, Mike Dana was a little unique and different. Mike Dana was in the building this week. I had a chance to talk to Mike, and you guys know Mike. I mean, he is as good as it gets. Just a tremendous player in person, and have a lot of respect for him, and wanted to just have that opportunity, since I saw him this weekend, to just let him go out there and see what his market is, and we'll remain in contact. And I think with guys like Juwan and Drew Tranquil, someone asked me about earlier, these guys started for us, and they play a lot of football for us. And again, our cap situation, I don't know if we're 6 or 7 over, but I think we have $60 million in convertible contracts too. So I mean, we have many different ways to attack this, and I think that's the one thing that we've been good at. We don't do a lot of money pushed out in the future years, and I think we run a pretty tight ship there. So this gives us flexibility to do different things. So again, that's part of the process with all those guys, and we'll see how the the scenarios shake out. Well, I mean, that's a better question for Andy. But the one thing that Andy takes a lot of pride and joy in, I think, is we always talk about the coach and all the accomplishments on the field, but Andy's one of those guys that really finds value in the day-to-day interactions with his staff and with his coaches, and he uses every moment as a teachable moment. And so, obviously, his kids are involved. His family's close. They're all part of it. But that work-life balance, I think that work-life balance, the work is done in the facility, but also the life balance is done in the facility with the way he mentors everyone, the coaches, the players, His family's a part of it. So just a unique individual, and you don't run into people like that very often, that their work becomes them, but they give so much on and off the field.
There's so many. Do a couple more here, guys. A couple more.
What's that? Well, I mean, talking football, and every position group is different, right? And I'm sure most GMs would tell you that, and most coaching staffs would tell you that. But there are certain positions that how they process information, and now look, this is only 20 minutes, so we're not going to like throw a kid up there or kill a kid, but it's a start. And then you have your informal time here, you have potentially formal time here, you have Zoom opportunities now, and then you have in-house 30 visits, and our coach can go visit them. So I think sometimes when there's a question, I don't think anything's determined here. I think it's part of the process. And so, we've had a couple guys yesterday that, just some of the football knowledge stuff we weren't sure on, and they kind of nailed it, and we were really impressed. And only 20 minutes on the other side there, we're going to make sure that is what it is. But our college scouts do a great job of painting the picture and having me, the coaching staff, everyone in that room prep for here's the player, and here's the background situation, here's where he's from, and here are the things. Some of these guys are smart, they just don't articulate it well. So it's just seeing the whole puzzle piece come together. And like I said, I don't think we take a bunch of names off, but it's just a pathway to keep digging and getting as much information as possible.
Last one, tell people. Go ahead. Last one right here.
Yeah, it's a great question, and I think there's the old school. You're always going to O-line, D-line. Those positional values are there. You see them in free agency. But at the same time, arguably some of the best players in this draft are maybe at non-premium positions. When you look at the Ohio State linebacker, the Notre Dame running back, the safety at Ohio State. So those are really, really good players. It's hard to find faults with their tape. Really solid. But again, some of those more premium positions, interior D-line, edge rushers, they're hard to find. And with those guys, the problem with those guys is they're hard to find, and then they don't really become available in free agency. Some of those other positions, they're good players. You'll probably eventually get a chance to get some of those positions in free agency. So that's kind of the things you just have to weigh, kind of go through and weigh out all the options. But at the end of the day, I think you just want a guy that's going to come in here and be a great contributor on the field, off the field, and stick to that old mantra: take the best player available, right? I think every year, it's a challenge, and we do have some flexibility with how we're set up to do some different things, but it's not like we have $90 million in cap space, and we have to execute an efficient game plan in free agency, and then we got to nail these picks, and that'll be important for us to keep this run going. Obviously, we had a step back last year, and everyone was disappointed, and but everyone's motivated, and even the coaching staff too. Like I said, the last few years we haven't had a chance to really get with them much before the combine, and right after that Vegas game, those guys were all in, and it was exciting and energetic in a way, just to get out there. And I think the last few years, we were kind of just like in a maintenance stage, and now we're trying to just rebuild this thing again. And I think for a GM and a personnel staff, that's exciting.
Thanks, Veach. Appreciate it.
Yep, thank you guys.